Hi everyone and welcome to Friday afternoon AAT. My name is Gareth Thomas and I am the AAT course manager at London School of Business and Finance, and today I would like to talk to you about the Level 2 Synoptic Assessment, what it constitutes and tips and advice on how to get through it, and we'll also have a look at Task 1 whereby I'll give you an example and we'll work through this together and develop an approach that you would like to have a look at. It's Friday afternoon, so hopefully everyone is getting prepared for the weekend, a long enjoyable weekend, and on the back of this should make it even more enjoyable in that you've got a load of knowledge to take with you and you're quite happy to carry on an approach, or if you're studying, to get on with your studying in the best possible way. So I will go over and produce a couple of slides and we'll run from there. Thank you. Now, Level 2 Synoptic Assessment. What this unit is about. Basically, as I think we spoke briefly last week on this unit is about examining knowledge and skills taken from the whole qualification. And at Level 2, you know the units that you have to cover are the two bookkeeping units, the costing unit, working effectively, and accounting software. So this is the final exam that brings it all into one place, with the exception of accounting software, which you don't need to do for this particular unit. So that is fantastic news, everyone. How is it examined? Well, we know it's examined independently. It's a 2-hour exam, and the other units do not all constitute 2 hours at Level 2 because some of them are 90 minutes. 30% of your overall grade, everyone, which is a big amount. So we have to do well at this synoptic assessment in order to get an overall distinction at the end of your program, at the end of what you're studying. Now, it should be attempted when you've actually passed all the units of Level 2 apart from accounting software. We would advise that you leave that right until the very end, so the knowledge that you acquire in your bookkeeping units you can use when you come to take your accounting software unit. So you're putting all the knowledge together to do that software, so leave that until the end. But it will appear in your synoptic assessment and you will be aware of that. And you'll be able to produce it because you already passed those units and you're in a good frame of mind and you're confident and you're happy and you're going to get through this assessment very easily in the end with the correct approach and the correct planning. So let's have a look in greater detail at what the assessment objectives are. Now, at Level 2 we have assessment objectives to cover. And at Level 2, the assessment objectives don't always match the task that you're covering. So for instance, assessment objective 1, it is associated with task 1 at Level 2, but it might extend into task 2 or 3 as well. So it could be examined over a series of tasks, though the bulk for this particular one is 1. Assessment criteria 2 might not be all of question 2, it might appear again. So at Level 2, it really is a cross-section on what you're actually doing. So it's something to get stuck into, everyone. So the first part, Assessment Objective 1, what are we looking at? Well, what the AAT are looking at to cover on this are to demonstrate an understanding of the finance function and the roles and procedures carried out by members of an accounting team. And I'll cover this in a bit more depth in a second. That is Assessment Objective 1. It's going to be covered. And I'll tell you where it comes from, what section of the syllabus this relates to, and we'll cover that today. So you know exactly where to find this type of practice, assessment and question. AO2, Assessment Objective or Learning Outcome 2, is to process transactions, complete calculations, and make journal entries. Now, this will relate to your bookkeeping controls account and possibly your bookkeeping transactions. So there'll be information gathered from that. So the synoptic is made up of these learning outcomes and objectives, and information is dragged from everywhere within to this assessment. Assessment objective 3 and 4. Well, 3, we're producing journals and accounts, and we're comparing them. So there may be mistakes, and at this stage, you are perfectly capable of rectifying the mistakes. You've practiced, you already passed, so this is going to be on the question paper, but that won't pose any problem at all because it's already dealt with. But we must be prepared to expect to see questions of this type, and they will appear. So we're dragging in something else. Assessment objective 4. We're going to communicate financial information effectively. And effectively sort of gives us leaning towards the working effectively unit. So again, it's financial information, but it's effective communication. How do we do this? Okay, how do we score marks on it, which is more to the point? Now, AO1, and what I'm going to look at here is look at this objective in a little more depth. So what we have, we're looking at the finance function, okay, and the roles carried out within this function. And this is 24% of the weighting for this unit. So we're looking at 24% to cover, or coverage, within the synoptic. And where's this come from? So where are the questions going to be set from? And for this section, the questions actually come from the working effectively in finance. Now, just to remember everyone, this is not examined anywhere else working effectively, which is why you shouldn't ignore it, because here it is. It's going to be examined somewhere, and this is where it's going to fit. And what we've got here, we've got 4 learning outcomes from the working effectively. We're looking at the finance function within an organisation. This could be the management accounting function and also the financial accounting function. So it could be either or, could be both. We're going to look at personal skills development in finance. That's examined. Producing work effectively. And then CSR, corporate social responsibility, which comes from your working effectively unit. And this is what we'll concentrate on today, though I do intend to cover the others, because the whole purpose of this is to show you how this synoptic is built up and what you can expect. And then we can build on week by week and cover questions and do examples and cover tips and show you how to get through this. So that's AO1 Assessment Objective 1. Now AO2, this is all to do with processing transactions, calculations and journal entries. So where's this coming from? So where does the examiner get the information from? So what the examiner's doing here is pulling information from bookkeeping transactions. So this is where your bookkeeping transaction comes in, and in more depth. So it's processing transactions. So we're looking to learn or be able to reproduce what we've learned in this unit regarding processing transactions. We're looking to process supplier and customer transactions. So it's both of those. So it could be sales or purchases. Processing receipts and payments. So that should immediately spark things. Oh, it might be the cash book. It might be T accounts. They might be presented in vertical form. It could be slightly different, but that's what's happening. Okay? We're then going to look at transactions through the ledgers to trial balance. So inevitably that will mean balancing off accounts, and you're all very used to T accounts at this level, carrying down, bringing down, and maybe producing or transferring to trial balance. That is all examined under AO2. 24% weighting for this one also. So this is what we're looking at. Assessment Objective 3. What are we covering here? Now, AO3, reconciling journals and accounts. This has got a fairly big weighting actually. And when you look at that, 34%. So the examiner's really drawing in information here and expecting you to look at this information and bring something out. So we've got a bit of work on to get through this part. And what are we looking at? Bookkeeping controls. So we're bringing in that unit. From bookkeeping controls, what are we expecting to see? So in this section, we're looking at control accounts. So it could be purchase ledger, sales ledger control, and maybe VAT control accounts. That could appear under this section. It will appear. What task? We don't know. That is the examiner's trick. We don't know. use the journal. So you'll be familiar with how to write out journals and put in descriptions and debits and credits in vertical form. So we'll be looking at that. And reconciling the bank statement with the cash book. So the bank reconciliation section that you will cover in your bookkeeping controls can reappear here. That's the beauty of the Synoptic Assessment. It brings in everything. Now, in addition to that, we've got costing. Elements of costing crops up here. So we have to be fully confident that we can deal with anything on costing that's going to come in. And we're looking at cost recording techniques. And we're also looking at providing information on actual budgeted costs and income. So you'll have covered this already and will be in a position to be able to deal with questions on this front also. So that is AO3. So 2 sections here. So anything of those. AO4, Assessment Objective 4. What is this talking about? We're looking at 18% in weighting, and we're looking at working effectively in finance again. So we're going back to working effectively here. So it's covered under AO1 and it's also covered under AO4 and could also trickle through the other units. But that's the LO3 that was missing from the first criteria. And I'm sure you'll be looking and saying, well, hang on, we haven't covered 3. There it is. So those are the objectives that are going to be covered, and that's where the examiner's drawn the questions from. All those different sections of the syllabus. How is it assessed? We already said it's 2 hours. There are 7 tasks. So the 4 learning outcomes or objectives are covered within 7 tasks. It's partly computer marked and partly human marked. And it's the only, no, actually accounting software is human marked, but at level 2 of the units you've done so far, it's all been dealt with the computer instant results. For the Synoptic Assessment, it's partly human marked, therefore there are written elements, therefore there's 6 weeks for feedback. So you will have to wait 6 weeks for your results before you gain your distinction and get through to level 3. Okay. Now, what I like to do is, just before I do that, it's just once more time, I know we say it again, the approach, attempt all the questions you can, don't look at the answers, use your full 2 hours in the exam, and then check your answers. Now, added on to that, why I sort of bring that in is, the examiner's comments for the first question, which we're going to look at in a second, what the examiner said, the main reason people don't do well on the first question in this unit is they don't read the question properly. And that is the main reason. So when we look at this question, let's have a look at important areas to cover, which is what I'm going to go on to now. Now, what we've got here, this is task 1 of a sample assessment and something that you would be looking to be efficient at and to get through. And it gives you a scenario to start with, and you're always going to get a little bit of a scenario to start. And the first thing to notice here, and I think this is what the examiner's talking about, is you work from 9 until 1400 Monday to Friday of each week. And note the times, it's not a standard day. It's not 9 till 1700 or further, or less. It's 1400. That's the first thing to be aware of. And maybe the first thing that you'd underline and think, okay, let's make notes on this. You can actually make some notes in the exam. The examiner, or the invigilator, should I say, will be more than happy to give you rough paper that you would give in at the end. And this is every day of the week. And each period is 4 weeks in duration, so you plan your work on a 4-week cycle. So we're bringing in the work effective unit over a 4-week cycle. These are the work schedules below. And what we've got here, you must complete your management accounts by the end of the identified day, and the financial accounts by the day and time indicated. So there's a slight difference in approach. And this is the monthly work schedule. And this is the management accounting schedule that you have to do. So there are 4 weeks, and that's what you have to do every day. So Monday, you're covering different things on different weeks. Tuesday, in fact, you're doing 1 hour on a Tuesday on week 2. Wednesday, you're left with that. Thursday, there's 2 hours on week 1, then you have 2 spare weeks, then you've got 1 hour on week 4, and then Friday, you do something in the first week, nothing, and then you've got another hour. And they're all different jobs and roles that you have to deal with and cater for. So that's the monthly accounting information. Now, as well as that, you also work within the financial section. So in this situation, you're working for management accounting, you're working for financial accounting. So these are the roles of accounting that you typically have adopted. And what tasks need to be completed here? Well, there's various statements, various things you need to do. There's the amount of time. Okay, those are the days, those are the tasks, and that is the time they must be completed by. So there's the restriction. These are the deadlines. So on Friday, by 1 o'clock, you need 1 hour to reconcile statements. On Thursday, by 1 o'clock, you have 2 hours and you must contact customers. Okay? That's done on a weekly basis. So let's have a look at the requirements. You plan your work at the start of the day on Friday of week 4. You've been asked to complete a non-routine cash book by 10 a.m. So something unusual has cropped up, which has to be done by 10. So this could invariably be the first thing. Now, the difficulty already, as you might be thinking, is there's an awful lot of information to absorb here. And it really is a lot of information because we're going to be scanning up and down this question. And constantly moving around from management to financial and vice versa. Complete your to-do list for today, which is Friday of week 4. Refer to the management and financial accounting schedules above, and then fill in the list as you go along. If the tasks takes more than an hour to complete, then you need to put it in twice. So these are the tasks, and there's your Friday at week 4. So what needs to be done on Friday at week 4? Let's take a look at the weekly information first. Now, note well, the cash book's already inserted for you. So that's quite nice. So the examiner, very friendly, they put that in. So you get that as a starter. So what needs to be done by 11 o'clock, if anything? So let's have a look. Friday, week 4. So Friday, week 4, 11 o'clock. Is there anything on this list? Well, yes. If we look, we need to process invoices by 11 o'clock, and that's on Friday, and it's going to take 1 hour. So let's go back down. So between 10 and 11, the role or your role would be to process invoices. And you would insert that here. So that's the first thing. So you're starting to get your list together and get familiar with your work role. So let's go back up. Is there anything that needs to be done by 12 o'clock? So let's go back up to our list on a Friday. So there's something by 1 o'clock, invoices by 12 o'clock, by 11 o'clock, I beg your pardon. Now there's something in there every day, and that is posting checks. So that needs to be attempted or completed every day. And for that, you have 1 hour. So let's go back down. So by 12 o'clock, you need to process or post checks. And you would, excuse me, I'll just bring this up a little higher. You would need to insert that. So that's the next thing. What needs to be done by 1 o'clock? Now, looking back up, I vaguely remember something that we've just seen. So let's go back up to 1 o'clock. By 1 o'clock on Friday, we have to reconcile statements. So we scan back down and insert there, reconcile statements. So a little higher, reconcile statements, which is the third one. At the start, we looked at the time that the person works, that you were working, and it's until 2 o'clock. So is there anything between 1 and 2 o'clock? So let's scan back up and take a look. What have we got between 1 and 2 o'clock? Now there's been no management accounting attempted yet. So my inkling would be, let's have a look at that. There must be something to do. And we're going to look back up. And on Friday of week 4, Friday, there's some cost coding to do, which takes 1 hour. Let's insert that. And that completes our to-do list. So we have cost coding. And we've now satisfied the first part of that question. Okay, part B. Identify on which day of the week you would be the busiest with routine tasks from the management and financial accounts schedules. So which day of the week? So there are 4 weeks, that was the cycle, and we were working 5 days a week. So we need to look and put some workings together to really try and find out which is the busiest part of the week. So let's have a look, management accounting first of all. Well, what have we got to do? Week 1, on a Monday, there's 2 hours, okay? So we've got 2 hours on a Monday. Is there any financial accounting on a Monday? Monday, we have 1 hour. Okay, so there's 1 hour for Monday. And this is every day. Okay, this has to be on a daily basis. So, so we've got 4 hours in total. What about Tuesday? Tuesday, we have nothing to do for management accounting. Fantastic. Then what about on a daily basis? What do we have Tuesday? Well, we've got 2 hours on a Tuesday. There. And we've got the task that we have to do every day. So that's Tuesday. So that adds up to 3 hours. So, okay, we're busier on the Monday. What about Wednesday? So look on Wednesday. We have 2 hours in the morning. Underline that. Anything else on a Wednesday? We've got our 1 hour every day. And we have another hour. So on a Wednesday, we've got 4 hours. Thursday, 2 hours. Let's have a look down here. Thursday, 2 hours. 4 hours. The 1 hour there, so 5 hours for the Thursday. So at the moment, on a Thursday of week 1, we have 5 hours. Now we're going to write that there because that is the highest so far. Let's have a look on Friday. What do we get to on Friday? Friday, product cost analysis, 1 hour. What else do we have to do on a Friday? Well, we have the 1 hour for reconciling statements. We have 1 hour for processing invoices. That's 1, 2, 3. 1 hour for the checks every day. So we've got 4. So that comes to 4. So at the moment, Thursday's the busiest with 5. Now, does any of this change? Well, Mondays doesn't change at all because there's no change there. That's less. No change there. So this is nice. Tuesday. Well, Tuesday is the easiest day of the week for management accounting by the look of it. So things don't change on the weeklies. However, we've got 1 hour more there. That doesn't take it to 5. So we're okay there. Wednesday. What happens Wednesday? There's 2 hours there, so that would give us the same result. There's 1 hour there. That would give us a lower result. So 5 hours is still the favourite. That's even less because there's nothing going on. Now, have we got anything on Thursday to sort of make us change and have a look at what could happen? Thursday, that is less, so we're okay there. And then we've got the variance analysis for 1 hour, so that gives Thursday a total, well, it's not 5 hours because there were 2 and we're down to 1. So what we're doing, we're actually eliminating things already. So at the moment, it's week 1 and it is a Thursday as it stands. Friday, what's happening here? We got 1 hour. There's nothing there, so that is going to be less. We got a product cost analysis here. That is 1 hour, so that is going to be the same as we've already calculated. And then we've got cost coding here of 1 hour. That is going to be the same that's already calculated. Oh, so looking at this, it appears that the busiest day is the 5 hours, let me just neaten that up slightly, that we looked at, and that is week 1 on the Thursday. So which day in week are we the busiest? Well, the day of the week is a Thursday, So let's write in here. And week number for this, well, it's week number 1. And what we dealt with really is the first part of question 1. Now that takes quite a long time, and it takes a long time purely because of the information that you have to absorb. And to be methodical really, use some rough paper if you need to, look at the requirements, underline the important areas, which is what we've done. You can use workings as much as you like, but really it's not difficult. There's no specific technique. It's being organised and dealing with tasks. And think of the examiner's comment, often not read properly. So if there's a task, for instance, that has to be completed by 9 o'clock on a particular morning, it may need doing the day before. It doesn't apply in this question, but it could apply. However, that is covered for task 1. Thank you very much for watching. We'll continue with the rest of task 1 next week. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you. Okay everyone, task 1 done. Next week what we'll be looking at to extend this task and we continue the rest of task 1 and see where the other marks are. This is a 12-mark task, by the way, and we've obtained 6 marks already just by dealing with this volume of information. So it'll leave us then with the rest of the task next week where we pick this up and we continue, and hopefully more techniques and more learning skills will be established. So once again, thank you very much, and all have a lovely weekend. Okay, bye.